start this video a little bit different. Scott's getting everything moved around. He's getting ready to do a video for you guys. I've been watching him write the blog post on Gremlin bells. Gremlin bells are something neither of us have ever had on our bikes, so I secretly bought him a Gremlin bell. Here it is. And when he finishes with this video, what he doesn't know is that I am going to gift him his first ever Gremlin bell. Alright guys, he's got the trucks moved and now he's about to ride in. I'm pretty excited about this. Alright, you ready to start recording and get set up?
I am. Hey guys, welcome back to Ride It, Wrench It. I want to do something different again this time. I've been out on a ride recently with a little group I ride with, and started seeing they all had the Gremlin bells. I don't have a Gremlin bell. I've never had a demon bell or Gremlin bell, and so I thought it'd be cool to do a really in-depth study of Gremlin bells, not just, you know, here's a bell, stick it on your bike. So I started researching it, and I really came up with some really interesting information beyond what you hear in the I guess the circles of bikers. So let's get started with the Gremlin bells, or demon bells, or motorcycle bells, or blessed bells even, as one guy told me he puts on bikes. The idea behind Gremlin bells is that as you're going down the road, these gremlins or demons either hang out on the roadside or even under the pavement. And then what they do is, as you come by, they reach up and they grab onto your motorcycle and they start causing mischief to your motorcycle, like causing electrical issues, or maybe like causing you to get tired, or even if they're like the roadside demons or gremlins, they'll make trees and stuff fall in front of you so you'll hit it and crash. So that's basically it. They're just mischievous little, you know, demons. The bells supposedly, and this depends on who you talk to, where you research, the bells supposedly either ward them off, so you're going down the road and the little bell's jingling and they just don't even come at you, right? Because they're scared of the bell. Or another story is with the bells is that as you're going down the road and they reach up to grab your motorcycle, the bell captures them inside of the bell, and then as you hit bumps, the demons will fall out of the bell and create potholes on the road. So who knows? I mean, but those are the two theories behind how the gremlins or the demons work. Now it gets a little more complex. I'm going to get into a little bit of history of bells, and I'm going to have to read this. That's why I've got my notes out, because there's a lot here. So I think the first thing we need to look at is, why are demons or gremlins afraid of bells? I mean, it's got to be a reason, right? That's why we're putting them on our motorcycles. Or I haven't. I've never had one, but that's why I've seen them on motorcycles. So one of the first things I found was Archbishop of Genoa, Jacobus de Voragine. I probably butchered that one, that French. Said, in the golden legend of Jacques de Voragine, Archbishop of Genoa. This was in the Caxton of 1483. So we're going back a long time here. It states that evil spirits that be in the region of the air doubt much when they hear the bells ringing. Thus the bells are rung when it thunders, or when great tempests and outrages of weather happen. To that end, the fiends and wicked spirits should be abashed and flee, and cease of the moving of tempests. The next one is in 1459, the Rationale Devorium Officiorum of Durandus. So this is through the Catholic Church. A popular work dealing with the origin and meaning of ecclesiastical services states that the church rings bells on the approach of a storm, so that the devils, hearing the trumpets of the eternal King, might flee in fear and cease from raising the storm. Bells were baptized and blessed to consecrate them. In 1521, it was even stated that the suffragans used to baptize bells under the pretense of driving away devils and tempests. it was stated many old bells in Britain were inscribed with the sign of the cross and the statement, "By my lively voice, I drive away all harm." And then also the Romans used bells, early Romans. Bronze bells were used to repel demons. The geographer Strabo in 64 BC recorded that Roman herdsmen attached bells to the necks of their flocks to keep away evil spirits and wild beasts. The Roman poet Ovid at 43 BC stated that people used to beat bronze bells on vessels during an eclipse and at the death of a friend to scare away the demons. So there's some history of the theory behind why bells drive away demons. Now, it also gets into what types of bells are used. So this is a little more detailed than you're going to get with most of your things on Gremlin bells. So there's some different types of bells used for the same purpose in different cultures around the world, which I also found very interesting. One of them is Buddha bells. In Buddhism, the ring of a bell can represent the heavenly enlightened voice of Buddha teaching the Dharma. It can also be used as a call for protection and a ward from evil spirits. And then witches' bells, like the old Celts. After 1000 AD, people made bells from iron. According to European lore, iron scares off or at the very least agitates fairies. And I think they're using fairies as like a gremlin or a demon. Folks kept iron horseshoes above the doorway to ward off the fairies and evil spirits, and employed iron bells as protection in various ways. In addition, church bells scared off trickster spirits. And traditionally, loud sounds, like those from bells or chimes, scare off ghosts and demonic entities. So even the Celts used bells. So then you've got Feng Shui bells in China. Feng Shui bells are activated and whenever they're rung. Obviously, now these are hung on doors, okay, not on motorcycles, but it's still the same principle. And there's several areas where you can place and use a bell to act as a cure or bring good luck and prosperity. Feng Shui bells are also used to expel evil spirits and harmful energies. These bells, like the ones bikers hang on their bikes, have symbols on them. Each symbol brings about a specific benefit. The sound of a bell generates a positive chi, and the benefit is released. Feng Shui bells are meant to be hung on the front door. It doesn't completely relate to the bike or symbolism of Gremlin bells, but the general idea is similar. And who knows, it may have had some influence on the way bikers use Gremlin bells today. Then you've got the dead bell. The belief in supernatural was common in the Middle Ages. Special protective powers were sometimes attributed to certain objects, including bells. The church itself condoned the use of bells to frighten away evil spirits. This ensured the practice's survival and development. Bells were often baptized and were believed to possess the power to ward off evil spells and spirits. The use of the dead bell was typical of this belief and rung for the recently deceased to keep evil spirits away from the body. The bell was originally rung for two reasons. First, to seek the prayers of Christians for a dead person's soul. Second, to drive away the evil spirits that stood at the foot of a person's bed and around the house. And then we get into something called blessed bells. These are a little bit different than all these other bells we talked about. So blessed bells are sometimes given after a bike blessing ritual by the person blessing the bike. Blessed bells serve a different purpose besides warding demons off the road. They're a symbol that the motorcycle itself is protected by God. So that's kind of interesting. So now, we know how bells are supposed to drive away demons, the different types of bells there are to drive away demons. And now we got to talk about how Gremlin bells became popular with motorcyclists. And again, there's stories about this. This is where one of them things where it depends who you talk to, what circles you run in. But overall, the stories are pretty much the same, maybe with little variations depending on the storyteller. The most commonly accepted one, though, seems to be the one about the World War II pilots, that in World War II, the Royal Air Force pilots would go on these bombing raids. And as soon as they got back from a bombing raid, their planes were refueled, reloaded with bombs, and right away they would be sent back out. So they would go on these bombing raids for 3 days straight. And of course, they'd get really wore out and tired. And if you've ever driven a long time and you've gotten really super tired and you get all that, you're like, oh gosh, you'll start seeing things out of the peripheral of your vision, like things moving or things happening. And the Royal Air Force pilots would have that effect. And they would see things like the Gremlins pulling off panels off the wings of their airplane, or popping rivets out of the fuselage, and they would be given drugs to help keep them awake. But the drugs didn't always work. So what they started doing was hanging little bells inside of the cockpit, and the ringing of the bells would help keep them awake on these long, extended and repetitious bombing raids. Then what happened was the American pilots that were over there adopted that belief into their airplanes as well. And when a lot of those pilots came back, they entered into the biker world, and they became part of clubs and started clubs and rode motorcycles, and then they began adopting the same philosophy of the bells in their cockpits, and they started hanging them on their motorcycles. To me, that's pretty reasonable. I can see that, because the next story is kind of unreasonable, but it is one of the common beliefs, and probably a lot of you have heard it, and that's about the biker's trip from Mexico. So supposedly a biker was coming back from a bike ride in Mexico. Why Mexico? I have no idea. Maybe you visit a curandados down there, the witch doctors or something. I don't know, and brought a gremlins back with him. Who knows? Anyway, so he's coming back from Mexico on a road late at night. Of course, the bike doesn't have great headlights, especially the older bikes. There was a group of demons up ahead waiting for a biker, camped out on the side of the road doing whatever they do. They saw the biker coming, and then they either threw a log out in front of the biker, or they jumped on the biker and caused him to crash, or who knows what. The story changes a little bit at that point. But the biker crashed, rolled around, and saddlebags flew off. One of his saddlebags landed beside him, thankfully, because the demons came charging at him, running at him to get him. And he started reaching his saddlebag, and he started grabbing things out of the saddlebag and throwing them at the demons, chunking them at him. Hey, help me, yeah. So he got down to the last thing in his saddlebag, which was a bell. Why he had a bell in his bag, there's no answer to that one. It's just he had a bell in his saddlebag. So he starts ringing the bell real loud, hoping to scare him off. And the demons kind of hesitated. Well, he's ringing the bell. Apparently, unfortunately for him, somewhere real close off the side of the road, there were two other bikers camped. They heard the ringing of the bell. They come running out to see what's going on. They see the demons attacking this dude, and he's ringing the bell. So they all gang up on the demons, and they drive the demons away. And the guy, the rider that crashed, was very thankful, and he gave the bell as a gift to the bikers and said, this bell will protect you from the gremlins in your future rides on the road. So that's one of the legendary or mythical ideas behind how the gremlin bells began getting populated among bikers. Then you got the one of the dark hooded figure. I'm going to read this one. A man was riding his motorcycle late one night down an open road. His motorcycle began having electrical issues, and the light went dead, and finally the power cut out to the bike, and he rolled to a stop on the side of the road. As he was bent down, digging around, trying to figure out why he lost power, it says, the hairs stood up on the back of his neck, like somebody's watching him. That feeling you get when somebody's watching you, but you don't really know they're there. So he jumped around, ready to fight whoever it was that he thought was coming up behind him, and stood face to face with a dark hooded figure. I wish I had a hood, that'd be cool. The dark hooded figure held up their hand and said, "Don't be worried, I'm here to help." He handed the rider a small brass bell, gave the instructions to hang it from the lowest part of his motorcycle. That's important. As you ride along, the gremlins along the road will find themselves caught in the bell. As the bell rings, the gremlins will fall out of the bell onto the road, and you'll leave them safe behind. The figure asked the man to spread the word and disappeared into the trees. The rider hung the bell from his motorcycle, and as he tried to start the motorcycle up, it sprang to life. And from that point forward, he made his way home safe, never worrying about gremlins again. So that's another story, another myth. And then, of course, there's Another practical one is, in the early days of motorcycling, we didn't have the electronic systems we have now with alarm systems and warning systems. So they would say bikers just hung a bell to it, so if somebody came and tried to lift the bike up, the bell would ring. The biker would hear it, come out, and attack the thief, and thus saving his motorcycle. That's kind of practical in a way too, unless the thief sees the bell. But anyway, that's another story. Okay, now it's important, guys, to talk about the rules of the use of Gremlin bells. There's not a lot of different ideas here, which is good because at least there's a set of rules that we follow with Gremlin bells, and it's standardized across the board. I think the biggest thing is where people hang the bells is the deviation from what is supposed to be considered normal. So the first thing is a rider should not purchase their own bell and hang it from the motorcycle. Don't buy your own bell. If you want the bell's magic to work, it must be a gift. Its supernatural powers are activated by the gesture of goodwill and care. So second, the person gifting the bell should be the one to hang it on the motorcycle initially. It can be relocated after the ritual is complete. Okay, so somebody gives you a bell, make sure they hang it on your motorcycle. Never leave the bell behind. This is rule number 3. If you sell your bike, never leave it on the motorcycle for the new owner. The bell should be cherished for the gift and tradition that it was given. You should take it off, keep it, or transfer the bell to a new ride. If you want to give the bell to the new owner as a present, you will need to take the bell off and personally gift it to them. If you don't give a bell with a goodwill that's intentional, it won't have any effect. Rule number 4, bells should be as low to the pavement as possible. And this is where it gets all blown out of whack. I've seen bells hung from like handlebars. I've seen them at the back of the bike. I've seen them, from the engine guards. They're supposed to be as low to the pavement as possible to ensure it's the first thing that gremlins hear. If it's up here at the back of the bike on a trunk, and the gremlins are ahead, it's going to be the last thing they hear. They're already on your bike then, so your gremlin bell failed you. Some believe the bells actually capture the gremlins. Placed at the lowest point close to the pavement, it'll be the first thing gremlins grab at to be captured within, or to wreak havoc or mischief with your bike. Bells should be as far forward on the motorcycle as possible to ensure the gremlins are warded off before they grab the motorcycle, or to capture them before they're able to get to the motorcycle. So when the bells are at the back, obviously the motorcycle comes along, they got the whole motorcycle to grab onto before the bell actually does anything. It's too late then. The gremlin's already on you. So ideally, if you can get it somewhere off the bottom of the front fork, that's where the bell should be, because that's going to be the farthest forward that you can get the bell on the motorcycle. That way the gremlins get captured before they can do any mischief to your bike. Next rule, number 6, stolen bells lose their power. So if the bell is stolen by you or someone else that's gifting it to you, then it will have lost its power of protection. So if they're giving it in goodwill and out of good faith and they care, you better hope it's not a stolen bell, because it won't have any power. Then the last rule is bells should be cleaned every time you clean your motorcycle. And while cleaning the bell, you should remember fallen riders as a way of paying respect to them. So that's about it, guys. That's Gremlin bells. I know it was long, but it's also in depth. I wasn't able to find anything as detailed as I put together about Gremlin bells. So I wanted to be thorough. That's what it's all about, and be informative. That way, if you haven't heard of Gremlin bells, or if you even know Gremlin bells, you might know a little bit more about Gremlin bells now, and you can pass that knowledge on to other riders. As always.
Wait a minute. So, not quite done.
Huh?
I have a present for you.
What?
I saw you working on the post. I did not steal this bell. I purchased it on Amazon. I'm not a bell thief. I wanted something very unique, like you. Right at Wrench It. So I went with an engine bell. Not seen one of those before. So, hope you like it. Not sure what I believe about Gremlin bells and all that, but I wish you always the best when you're on your bike. So I'm going to put it on your little lever here, and you can move it to wherever you want.
So I got my first Gremlin bell.
He has his first bell, guys.
Man, that was a cool surprise. I didn't know. I really didn't know. I always talk to Margaret about, the things that I'm working on especially when I'm writing a post, to go with the video in case, you guys visit the website and read it. And so I was talking to her about it. And I had no idea that she was going to get me a bell. That's pretty cool. And I guess that's about the best goodwill. That's about the best goodwill I could have right there. It's from my wife of 27 years. So, yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. So anyways, again, thanks to Margaret for everything she does to help with these videos. And as always, give me a thumbs up if you like the video. I do appreciate it. And be sure and visit the website. All this information's on the website, on a post that goes along with this video. And there is some more details. There's always more details in the write-ups. And there's pictures, to go along with it. Some of those pictures were in the video. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's not informative. And, that's the whole idea here in Write It, Wrench It is, just to be informative and, get feedback amongst writers, of things happening in the writing community and, parts and repairs and stuff like that. I mean, it's supposed to be an information sharing, forum. So as always, we appreciate it. So be sure to visit the website at writewrenchit.com.